Let's move on from that.
Yes, emphasis, much emphasis.
We've got it's
never a drug baron.
Tomato scarcity looms as farmers lose 1.3 billion naira and 300 hectares to Ebola. Tuta absoluta, also known as tomato Ebola, is currently ravaging tomato farms in parts of the country, costing as much as 1.3 billion naira in economic dimensions, with scarcity looming. The situation has led to a collaborative effort by federal government, Nigeria Agribusiness Group, Nigerian Horticulture Research Institute, several others. They raised the alarm over tomato Ebola at a briefing by Horti Nigeria, supported by the Netherlands, adding that the ravaging insects were ruining huge investments of farmers in Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, and Gombe states. The president, Emmanuel Ijewere, said stakeholders have resolved, therefore, declaring total war on the invading insects. Tuta absoluta is an insect that ravaged tomato farms, and from what we have discovered, the insect is very devastating to a tomato and is so smart. The insects have decided to build their homes under the leaves, and when the insecticide is sprayed, it does not affect them. Affected states are mainly Kano, Kaduna, Katsina, and Gombe. But the insects don't need visas to go to any other states as far as the conditions. So don't think your tomato farm is safe in whatever state you're in. These insects don't need visas. If the conditions are right, they will migrate them. Emmanuel, it says here so far about 1.3 billion naira worth of tomatoes lost, and about 300 hectares have been infected.
Well, Annie, I want to believe that no matter how smart those insects may be, humans must be smarter, I tell you. And so, if federal government is ready, if they truly view tomatoes from the north as being very important to Nigerians, they should also indeed dole out money to fight it. They are not giving these farmers money to use and eat, but to fight this scourge, so that tomato will continue the production of it. Because if you know that it's important to fight this scourge of Ebola, or is it absolute or whatever they call that, now you do not bring out that money, and these farmers don't have it. When it happens, it will affect the farmers and affect the entire country. So I think that's the only thing I will say on this. Let them try and make sure before it reaches the time we'll be crying because of tomatoes. Now the fight is so that no matter how smart, a goat is a goat, no matter how smart. The
thing is that before you surmount it, let it not destroy.
That's what I'm saying.
Much, yeah, because you have to keep learning.
And that is why they should tackle it now. Now, I'm not sure it has reached that level. So now if they fight it, and then we'll be able to have a reprieve from it, and then tomato production continues.
You know, because when we hear about tomatoes, we usually think about the northern states. I mean, and the states that were mentioned were all in the north.
Yes.
Is it very difficult for tomatoes to grow here in the south?
No, it's not.
Part?
It's not, Annie. There are a lot of things growing there.
Because we keep relying on tomatoes coming in from the north. I remember one time when there was scarcity, and I was asking, they kept talking about, tomatoes coming in from there. It's how perishable these goods are, and sometimes before it gets here. So there were some issues that caused that. And I was wondering, tomatoes can grow in the south. It's not that difficult, really.
In my village, we were having enough from our own backyard garden. In my own village. So it can be grown here. The more you invest in it, the more you make from it. But the fact is that we seem to be relying on the north for almost everything. Almost everything. Even Gary, they bring from there. Meanwhile, it's true now.
No.
What are you talking?
They don't bring Gary there.
Where? Which states?
Annie, is Benue not
yes,
north?
Benue is in the north.
Thank you very much. No. Emmanuel Ndukwe, not another person, has gone to Benue, Ankpa in Benue, and bought Gary.
Yes, they bring
Maybe once.
It's true.
What are you telling me?
There's no Gary
if
here.
If it were another person.
No. Why? Why did you go to Ankpa? There's no Gary here.
Thank you. Listen.
Yes.
There were Gary here, like we still have, but it will not be enough for commercial quantity. We were very many.
To sell. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
In Benue.
I think I have the Gary that are selling in River State, I know, is from Delta, Ebonyi, Enugu,
There's added Benue inside that list.
No, Benue.
We don't have Benue. I will show you a man that buys from Benue.
So you don't even need to talk more. Go to Bori Camp Gate there. You will see this thing there from Benue.
There is no Benue. At least those Gary sellers will tell you. If you go to market, I go to market. Then Ikwere Gari is the best, but in very small quantity, and is the most costly of all the Gari.
It's all right.
So, but our government has not done anything to promote it. Well, tomato, and growing up, I saw my mother plant tomatoes in the farm.
Okay.
And it used to be very reddish and beautiful. The problem is that let's say even the oil, it's not even the discovery of oil. Poor leadership, visionless leadership became the bane of this part of Nigeria when it comes to agriculture. You know, because of this allocation they have from oil, they are sure that it will come every month. We don't, and the quick thing, project they do, those investments they do that will bring quick returns. You know, they neglected agriculture because that will not bring the needed returns immediately. If not, growing up, I never heard that there is even tomatoes coming from the north. I know of groundnuts coming from the north. So I don't know anything again. Not even corn, because we had it here in abundance. Not even yam. The yam that comes early in this state was Ogoniam. Ogoniam, by August, Ogoniam have flooded the market. Now, by December, those from yam from Ikwere, Eche, and all those, you know, it's already. We never imported yam from the north in this state.
Yeah, maybe the amount you guys had was enough. You didn't have this number, this population then.
And you see, when you talk of this, what I say, there was neglect. There was lack of planning.
Okay.
Because population, when you know your population, it can project and do your budget. And that's what Senate clients do. Population is not the problem. Population ought to be an advantage in terms of productivity. But here, we neglected all these things all these years, and the number increased to the point that it has overwhelmed even budgetary projections and every other thing, because it through your population growth that you can know how many houses, how many people don't have houses, and project how many houses you can build in a particular year. It is that through population that you know how many grid of electricity, megawatts of electricity it can put in the national grid. So because of lack of development planning, all these things, because the leaders that emerge are ignorant of this aspects of governance. Honestly speaking. So now the tomato, this thing, reading there, one particular say is ravaging. What is our response
to it?
Our response to it is still that I don't care attitude by government. Was it this week or late last week? Dangote was blaming governors in the north as being responsible for the high poverty in the north. And they see that tomatoes are planted by individuals, and government will not come to their support to provide the necessary decision to fight that scourge. They will not. Because that will take away, especially now that many of them are to hand over in less than 2 months.
So they don't really care.
They will not care. Their eyes are just out of every other thing, but how to get the pest of office that they will live with. That's why even our own governor here will even continue to award the project and give 80% mobilization. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it will affect all of us, because when that quantity of tomatoes have been destroyed, then it means that the cost of tomatoes will go up.
It will, definitely.
And when it goes up, are we not going to say that maybe we'll be importing tomato from Cameroon?
Hope not. Very quickly get on to Emmy.
So, it's a disturbing situation.
All right, Emmy.
Yes, I think federal government and tomatoes farmers. Nigerians are looking for jobs, and Nigerians are talking about food insufficiency. Some people are farming and the product are wasting. I think if the government can find anything to do about that, I will encourage it. And as for the farmers as well, as you're going into farming, you know, some of your products or your produce, they are perishable goods. Sometimes if we must dispose them on time, then we must check the level of greed as well. If we think we want to make much money, more than expected, and your produce are perishable, you will definitely suffer the loss. But if you farm and trade to make a quick turnover, I think it's better than to want to make that level of greed that will create much damages to you and your business. So I also advise them to check their greed. And as for federal government to provide the support, yes, tomato even come from Niger Republic as well. This is part of the reason federal government is expanding route to Niger Republic and the rest of it. We have cattle coming from there. We have tomatoes coming from there. So some of the tomato we are consuming here, some are from Niger Republic. They are not actually just from the north alone. I think, and it's something that is even increasing our revenue generation as well. So why are we going to allow them to perish? Government and the farmers should put head together. That's just my advice for them. And as for cassava, please, I think in year 2021, I remember where CBN announced I think about 40 billion to be given to them as a support. And I think it will affect about 56,000 cassava farmers. And most of them are from South here. So for me, I just always want issues to be balanced. Not the federal government are always looking for North and forgetting the South. It's just that our people here should take opportunity. Tomato can grow here. We can plant if we are so desirous to plant. We have high level of poverty, unemployment rate, everything here. We have vast land, fertile land. We have resources. If under Ambode, Lagos State government can partner with KB State government and they got what they call Lake Rice, I wonder why a Delta State government, a Bayelsa State government, we have water, River State government, Akwa Ibom State government, Cross River State government, those state government, there are rivers here that we can channel, form irrigation to our farms. We can produce this tomato, create job for people, have food around here, make money for the government and for the people, but we don't always want to do this. Must always be a fun fair of commissioning a flyover, or must always be something that we do. We plant rice for over many years, like in Bayelsa State, where we don't harvest. I don't understand what is actually happening here. We have the resources, we have the land, the manpower is there, just to encourage them. Federal, we're talking about job creation. If federal government is coming up with anchor borrowers and several other schemes, giving grants and loan to people to farm, if federal government generates or creates job, and let me say 10 million, and all the states, the South state for an instance, are able to create maybe 1 million job, we have a reduced unemployment rate. But we have the resources here, we have the land, but we don't want to do. Is that not wickedness in the high places?
All right, I've got your thoughts there. 10th NAS, Tinubu needs Igbo to succeed. Southwest senators elect. 10th NAS. Tinubu needs Igbo to succeed Southwest senators-elect. Says here that senators from the Southwest geopolitical zone yesterday insisted that the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Tinubu needed Igbo of the Southeast to succeed in his renewed hope agenda for Nigeria. They therefore affirmed their resolve to guide and support the president-elect in running a government that will give all Nigerians a sense of belonging, starting from the presiding offices of the incoming 10th National Assembly. The federal lawmakers said they had chosen to support fairness and justice, noting that the country was built on a tripod Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. It's nice that they want to talk about fairness and justice now. Adding that excluding Igbo, the three positions in the country, might be counterproductive. The resolution of the senators followed speculations that the zone had already elected to queue behind a senator from the South in the race for Senate President. A senator-elect who chose to remain anonymous said yesterday that 3 senators from the Southwest went behind them to front the aspirant who was not from the Southeast geopolitical zone before the president-elect on Tuesday night. The senators-elect said they had already made their choice in the chief whip of the outgoing Senate, Dr. Orji Uzor Kalu from Abia State, and the senator representing Niger East Senatorial District North Central, Senator Sani Musa, as candidates for Senate President and Deputy Senate President, respectively. He said they told the president-elect Tuesday night that all of us from the Southwest are supporting a particular senator from the South for Senate President, but the president-elect discovered it was untrue this morning. As Southwesterners, we have good relationship with all Nigerians, and these 3 senators cannot speak for us. They are not our leaders and cannot take Southwest senators for granted. Our leader is a former governor who is also a senator. For us, we have resolved to do the right thing for the country since it's the only way Asiwaju, president-elect, can succeed as president. We have chosen to support fairness and justice as this country is built on a tripod, Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba. If you exclude Igbo in the 3 positions in the country, you may be pushing your luck too far. We are happy that the president-elect did not listen to them because he's not petty, he likes fairness, and he wants to do the right thing. The 12 senators from the Southwest already have a preferred candidate. We have 11 senators and 1 ranking senator who have endorsed Senator Orji Uzor Kalu for president and Senator Sani Musa for deputy Senate president. So the senators from the Southwest are saying, look, whoever is projecting the South president, Senate president, is not speaking on our behalf as Southwest senators. This is who we prefer, Orji Uzor Kalu.
Well, Annie is an
and we have to do this for balance.
Yeah. You see, the balance issue did not start being unbalanced today. But if, I always love the philosophy of whenever somebody wakes up is his morning. If they are seeing it now, for the sake of...
In Buhari's tenure, was there balance?
Annie, that is why I said the unbalance.
I'm just trying to think. Whether
the imbalance.
There was an Igbo Senate president. Was there Speaker Igbo?
And Buhari's tenure?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
So the thing, it was very balanced, but balance and hard.
Asiwaju will balance it now with for the Southwest.
What I'm saying is that if they have come to the reality that there's imbalance and they want to balance it, fine. But it's strictly a Senate affair. When they take their decision, I always said, even if they decide in the end to take maybe from the south or from even northeast where Shetima is from, anyway, we'll only talk. There's nothing we're going to do. So if they've decided that, well, it must be Orji Uzor Kalu, they choose Orji Uzor Kalu, let them be very careful. That's just one thing I want to advise. Let it be whoever they choose. They understand very thoroughly that individual, and that individual will be able to deliver. You see, for Emmanuel Ndukwe, whatever is going on, let it go. Let the senators take their decision.
All right, Emmanuel Ndukwe. What do you think, Dr. Bitima?
Annie, sometimes certain stories, dampen my spirit. I wrote on my Facebook page after this election, say Nigeria have been taken over. Like what happened in Russia by criminals and thugs. They've hijacked the state and there is no way to recover. You know, when you have a president that is linked to drug, a president-elect linked to drug issues and other questionable lifestyles, and you are talking of Senate president of Ozokalo that has a lot of baggages also, and we reference his achievement in Abia State, what he did in Abia State and what he did not. People just want to
balance.
Yeah, they can use the criminal elements to balance themselves, because this thing is annoying and it's even insulting. Unfortunately, the Igbos swallow some certain things, hook, line, and sinker. Is the Yorubas are even insulting them. They didn't see them as qualified to be president of the country. They see justice and equity. When a Yoruba man was elected president of this country, the president of Olusegun Obasanjo in 1999, served for 8 years. And Osinbajo came as vice from Yoruba, served for 8 years. And when Bola Tinubu came, they kept quiet. They were not talking of SAT. They said she rotate to SAT. And people like Pa Ayadebejo was saying for equity that this thing should go to Star East. These people who are talking, making noise now, we are booing the person of Bola Tinubu on. He's the best. Now they are realizing that they need Igbos. It's the Igbos that in fact, they say, as you make your bed, so you lie on it. The Igbos, the way they have made their bed, that's how they lie. And anybody can come to that bed and turn them anyhow. You know, turn them upside and turn them sideways and all those things. In 2027, I'm sure it will still be the same. When the thing go to north, maybe the next time it is south. There is no macro zone. And let us also kind of point out to the person they are even Ozokalo. Hey, Annie, this country is finished.
Why? Why? Because it's Ozokalo?
It's finished. Can't you have people who are a bit morally sound? People who are not connected to looting, corruption charges, EFCC, and all those things in this country to pretend over the affairs of this nation. And that is why they will not want, they will gang up for characters like P2B, because they know that somebody like that is like going to be a bad market for them. Yes, this is exactly what happened in Russia. When Putin and the group, his criminal group, hijacked Russia, and they hijacked Russia with all the resources, but Russians are poor. The oligarchs are the only rich people appropriating the resources of Russia to themselves.
All right.
And that is what we are going to witness in Nigeria. Right. And God will forbid it.
Okay, we got your thoughts on that. We heard it. Let me get to Emi Fiaga.
First, with all honesty, I consider the position of those persons as very insulting and very disrespectful to every other Nigerian who is neither Hausa Fulani, Yoruba, or Igbo. Claiming that Nigeria is configured in triples is an insult to us. This is one anomaly in our constitution, section 55 of the 1999 constitution as amended, that recommend that the business of the National Assembly can be conducted in English, in Hausa, in Yoruba, or Igbo, if proper arrangement is made. It's an insult to us. And I wonder what our representatives at the National Assembly are doing that to date they have not altered or moved a motion to alter that nonsense that insults our sensibility every day. Are we not human beings? Is it because we are from minority? Is the Robo man not human being? Is the Query man not human being? Is the BBO man, the Biro man, are they not human beings? Are they not Nigerians?
Yeah,
is it because a minority?
Yeah.
So is that why somebody will tell me Nigeria is configured in tripods? It's an insult to us. Must I be an Igbo? Must I be a Yoruba man? Must I be a Hausa man?
Sorry.
They should stop insulting people. I wonder, I know these people we are sending from these are our South. I think sometimes we need to organize them and begin to lecture them and talk to them very well. So you are going there. There are some certain things that are considered very insulting to us. Go there and fight them. Now you go there, you begin to look for committee leadership, committee, this committee. You come back and committee home, and you committee nothing back. That is for that.
It's all right.
Now for this.
As for this issue of justice, equity, or whatever, in a plural state or in a community where something is generally owned, a farmland, for an instance, that require the contribution of everybody to cultivate, for people to farm, and for the community to have, justice in that extent will be that the more you contribute in working, in cultivating, planting, the more you should get. But if you come that you seek justice, equity, and the rest of it, where people are coming out to cultivate the community land for community to have to eat, but you stood aloof, you stayed back, then on the day of harvest, then you come, oh, everything must be shared equitably, everything must be shared equally, it becomes an injustice to those other persons who came in their large number to ensure that the land was cultivated for the community to have. So sometimes that injustice, equity we claim is relative. APC is a political party. Bola Ahmed Tinubu contested under the platform of APC and has his own dream, his own vision for the Nigerian state. And for this dream and vision to be actualized, you will need people whom you think you can work with. Because if a house is divided against itself, I don't think it will stand though. So you will need people who will believe in those dreams. People who will want to conform themselves and align with those visions. If you bring people who antagonize you, at the end you will get nothing. E.g., Buhari and Saraki. So people need to be very careful in making selection and in their support. So if you think you are a senator, you want somebody from the east, you want somebody from, that is you. You are not the person to run the government. You have your own aspiration and dream. Hence you contested as a senator or as member House of Representatives. Follow your own. Don't try to be the one who want to determine for the other person, because if that person fail, you will be the first person to criticize. You will be the person to condemn. Oh, government fail, because there is a character I have seen that you will see people who are part of the federal government or part of government because they are in the legislature. If they are talking, they will say the federal government. So I wonder, where are you? Are you a local government as a senator? Or you are in a community government as maybe House of Reps? So who is the federal government? So they should sit and pursue their own. Allow the other person to determine what he thinks he can work with, those he thinks he can work with. I'm not against Uzo Kalu. He is a Nigerian. There was a situation in the Bible where a woman was to be stoned. Luckily, the woman ran into Jesus And Jesus asked a simple question. People, well, we must kill, we must kill, we must kill. He said, him that is without sin should please cast the first stone. Uzo Kalu is a Nigerian, former governor of Abia State. Just like Peter Obi was governor of Anambra State. What exactly did Uzo Kalu did that Peter Obi didn't do? Yes, one may have maybe a friend to the media or to set his sentiments that everything he does is hooray, they are covered. But the other one may be an enemy to certain interest. So even if his own crime is lesser, but people will amplify it. Oh, he's a enemy. Because his own interest and the other one are not aligned. So I'm only saying Uzo Kalu is fit to be president, Senate president. But there is a vision that somebody has for the Nigeria state. APC have zoned their senatorial, the Senate president to either South or Southeast. The Senate president cannot come from that same zone. Now, it will not be based on who can we work with and who is the person who we believe in the agenda of the incoming administration and the APC. So they will make their choice, whether from the South or from the Southeast. But for me, it should not be somebody who will be so obsessed with politics, power-drunk politician, who will abandon the vision for Nigeria and begin to want to establish his own political dynasty. In such a situation, problem will always arise. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu should not sit on the fence. I belong to everybody, I belong to nobody. He better choose to belong to some people now, belong to good Nigerians. In fact, he should belong to the good of Nigeria and be enemy to the enemies of Nigeria. If people are coming to gang up, people are coming to destroy, Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be enemy to those persons and be friend to those who will want the progress and peace, development of Nigeria.
Right.
This is what I appeal.
Okay. What are your thoughts on that? It's a
I've
long
heard you appeal.
it's a long one. But then we got your thoughts there. Let me just get to some of wait, let me just pull another story though. This year says 9,000 illegal herders sneaked into Ondo in 1 month. This is coming from Amor Teku. It says 9,000 illegal herders sneaked into Ondo in 1 month. The Ondo State security outfit, codenamed Amotekun, yesterday raised the alarm that over 9,000 illegal herders have sneaked into the state within a month. Commander of the security outfit, Adetunji Adeleye, said while parading 31 suspected criminals in Akure, Adeleye disclosed that the herders found their way into the state through the border towns. The Amotekun also expressed worry over the influx of the herders, says the reality is that in the last month, we have had an unusual influx of herdsmen into the state. We have to drive them back to where they came from. He said as of yesterday, we confronted over 9,000 herders who moved into the state. They moved them in the midnight and they masquerade as different forms of criminals. The herders always come into Ondo through the border communities in Edo, Kogi, and now Ekiti states, with large number of cattle, and they end up perpetrating crimes. We were able to notice that the herders will always come to Ondo through trucks with loads and will refuse security patrol to search them. So the trend has been on for a long time, especially in the last month, but we're now working on different modalities of ensuring that legitimate herders are allowed into the state. Those who are criminals and not supposed to be in the state are driven out of our forests. Also, we are making efforts towards the border towns of the state because we noticed that they find their way now through Ekiti state. Speaking on the 31 suspects paraded, the commander said they were apprehended for crimes ranging from kidnapping, rape, burglary, rituals, stealing, and illegal possession of firearms, among several others. But, I mean,